Meet the sports contract. When playing for free doesn't really pay the bills, a sports contract signed takes an amateur athlete from his parents' basement and into a luxury penthouse. But while some sports stars turn their contracts into investments that will allow comfortable living all the way to the grave, others think their contracts give them immunity, and soon they're either bankrupt or in jail. Sports contracts keep athletes happy, but no contract is exempt from the truth. Since making its debut in the mid-1800s, baseball has always been considered America's pastime, albeit a misunderstood one.
Baseball originated from the English game of rounders, and like everything else, it went over on the Mayflower. What a big ship that must have been.
The assumption may be made that the sport features often overweight men in pajamas, racing around cushions called bases in an attempt to try and score runs by hitting a ball as far as they can with a thick stick. And the pay? Back in the day, there were no home runs. That's unless your name was Babe Ruth. The Baltimore, Maryland native was the highest paid player in the game for 13 consecutive years, starting in 1922, when he earned $52,000, or roughly 5 times the average American salary. Then, in 1930, this happened.
Ruth is a contract called for $80,000 for 2 years. Has to be agreed upon. All right. Sign it?
Yes, sir, Colonel.
Ruth's $80,000 salary was 2.4 times greater than the second highest salary earned that year in baseball, a record that has never been broken.
Ruth, everything's settled. I got the contract signed now, and everything is okay. I hope you're going to have a very, very successful season.
Most other baseballers needed secondary incomes to make ends meet, like pitcher Don Rudolph, who worked as a clothes catcher for his wife, burlesque star Patty Wagon, and outfielder Pete Wisenant, who decided to buy a bar. "I'll sell beer and drink beer," he triumphantly announced. But with the introduction of broadcasting rights and collective bargaining, baseball turned many a man into a multi-millionaire. In fact, as of 2016, all but one of the top 5 largest contracts in sport are found in baseball, with Giancarlo Stanton leading the way, signing a 13-year, $325 million contract in 2015. And although Alex Rodriguez's 2014 salary was reduced due to his season-long suspension related to the biogenesis baseball scandal, he still took home just under $3 million for essentially doing nothing. Coming up, monster contracts of the NFL. Since breaking records in his rookie season in 2012, Indianapolis Colts quarterback Andrew Luck has been destined for greatness, putting opposing defenses on high alert.
Andrew Luck, he's definitely, beyond his time. He's a very poised quarterback. He's very smart in his decision-making. He can make every throw, and he can also extend plays. So I think he's definitely a total package when you're talking about a quarterback.
On June 29, 2016, the Colts announced Luck had signed the largest contract in NFL history, a 6-year extension worth $140 million with $87 million guaranteed. While it seems the big contract hasn't got to his head, he'll earn just under $1.5 million a game, There are some in his position who let the dollar sign severely impair their better judgment. This is a story of how a big contract can cause a big head and eventually a big, big fall from grace. The first African-American quarterback ever taken first overall, the Atlanta Falcons picked Michael Vick in 2001, with visions of greatness dancing in their heads. In 6 seasons at the Georgia Dome, Vick did his best to bring those visions to fruition, twice leading the beleaguered franchise to the playoffs. He threw 71 touchdowns and 52 interceptions for a completion rate of 53.8%, was selected to 3 Pro Bowls, and became the first QB in history to rush for over 1,000 yards in a single season. He was so good that in 2005, the Falcons signed him to a 10-year, $130 million contract. And then the wheels fell off the bus. There were already signs he was venturing down dark paths. He mingled with drug dealers, missed a congressional breakfast, even allegedly gave a girl herpes, checking into clinics under the alias Ron Mexico. But nothing could have prepared the NFL for what they discovered next.
First, I want to apologize for all the things that I've done.
In 2007, Vick essentially flushed his dignity down the toilet after he was implicated in an illegal dogfighting ring that he promoted, funded, and facilitated on his property for 5 years.
What I did was very immature, so that means I need to grow up.
His loyal fans thought the same, but they weren't in a forgiving mood.
Michael Vick indicted.
The indictment alleges they were involved in an ongoing animal fighting business.
PETA activists called on the NFL to suspend him, while Atlanta Falcons owner Arthur Blank did not want Vick on his team and released him, terminating Vick's mega contract at the end of 2006. Vick served 21 months in prison, plus 2 more in home confinement. It was there that he also realized that he couldn't afford the home he was confined in. Without an NFL salary or endorsements, Vick filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2008. But his reorganization plan, which included selling multiple properties and working for $10 an hour at a construction company to pay off creditors, was rejected in court.
Does it make you sad the way the creditors are there and, you know, what's so hard of what you guys have worked for?
No, Michael owes the creditors and he plans on paying the creditors.
But Vick's fallen financial state was given a boost after he was reinstated by the NFL and signed with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2009. He played his way to the starting role and earned himself another big contract in 2011. 6 years, $100 million, 40 of it guaranteed. He then celebrated on the field, breaking the NFL quarterback rushing record. In 2014, he managed to find a role as a mentor to Geno Smith with the New York Jets. And the following year, served as a backup to Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. Vick found himself without a team in 2016, but since 2001, appeared in 143 games. The 4-time Pro Bowler completed 56.2% of his passes, with 133 touchdowns and 88 interceptions. His biggest stat comes in his running game. He rushed for a record 6,109 yards and 36 touchdowns, averaging 7 yards a carry on the ground. Vick made $120 million over his career, but after selling assets and paying off creditors, as of 2015, he had just over $500,000 to his name. He's done well to recoup, but is well below the 2015 median NFL salary of $860,000. According to Forbes magazine, the highest paid player in 2016, based on salary, bonuses, endorsements, appearances, and licensing money paid by the NFL Players Association, was Carolina Panthers quarterback Cam Newton. Despite entering the 2015 campaign with a losing record, Newton signed a new 5-year, $103.8 million contract extension based on his promise of greatness. Newton and the Panthers cashed in on that promise with their 2011 first overall pick, leading the team to a 15-1 record. The 2015 league MVP threw for 35 touchdowns and rushed for 10 more. Cashed-up Cam took the team all the way to the Super Bowl before losing to the Denver Broncos 24-10. And after answering reporters in monosyllabic tones at the post-game press conference in his $70 hoodie, Newton was later criticized for walking out.
I've been on record to say I'm a sore loser. Who likes to lose? You show me a good loser and I'm gonna show you a loser.
Losing the Super Bowl also means missing out on a decent chunk of prize money. As of 2016, Super Bowl winners earn a bonus of $102,000. Compared to half that, $51,000 if you're a loser. That said, Newton may have lost the game, but won the overall NFL money war, with his total earnings on the year tallying $53.1 million. Super Bowl money is divided equally amongst everyone on the 53-man NFL roster. So while making just over $100 grand for winning the Super Bowl might seem like pocket change for the high earners, it's a dream come true for those on the lower end of the pay scale. By comparison, the NBA has a performance-based playoff pool which is divided by regular season record and how deep you go in the playoffs. How much does each player get if they win the NBA title? It depends on the percentage he earns from the team's overall salary amount for the season. For example, in 2015, Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors made $15.5 million, or 17.44% of the Warriors' total salary bill for the year of $88.9 million. So had they won the 2016 title, he would have pocketed 17.44% of the finals prize money, or just over $1.4 million. By comparison, Anderson Varejão's salary was just under $290,000. That means he would have only got 0.33% of the total salary money, and just over $26,000 for the big prize. The NHL has a similar playoff pool, but unless you've negotiated a personal bonus for winning the Stanley Cup in your contract, your winnings are the same as everyone else's. And in 2014, the final prize wasn't all that bad. The champion Los Angeles Kings happily divided $3.75 million they used to perhaps buy razors to shave their beards off, or to address dental issues. After the break, colossal contracts of the world game. With an estimated fan base of 3.5 billion people, football is considered the most popular sport in the world. But despite the glamour of the world game, the first $1 million deal didn't come from there. Rather, it came from ice hockey. The Golden Jet, Bobby Hull, signed a 10-year deal worth $1 million in 1972, which was considered quasi-ludicrous at the time. 5 years later, it wasn't a footballer, but a baseballer that would become the first pro athlete to earn $1 million per year. That distinction went to Dave Parker, who signed a 5-year contract with the Pittsburgh Pirates for $5 million in 1978. Millions eventually became, believe it or not, billions, courtesy of yet another sport, golf. With a mix of prize money and endorsements, Tiger Woods became sport's first billion-dollar man in 2009. Interestingly enough, in 2013, Woods was the world's top-earning athlete, with Forbes calculating his total haul at $78.1 million, with 65 of those coming from endorsements alone. 2016 proved the popularity of football had taken over the top earners list, as the top two came from the sport. They are football rivals in club and country. Consistent Ballon d'Or contenders and Champions League challengers. Add to that their bulging bank statements, and nobody in football, or in world sport for that matter, compares to Real Madrid's Cristiano Ronaldo and Barcelona's Lionel Messi. 2016 was a good year for the Portuguese forward. At club level, he became Real Madrid's all-time leader in goals and won himself his third Champions League title, his second with Los Blancos, with his penalty securing the club's 11th title in the competition.
The last penalty, I was confident. I knew that I will score.
At international level, he captained his beloved Portugal to its first ever major international trophy, the 2016 European Championship.
We are the first to win an important competition in this country, but you deserved it. You were spectacular from the beginning until the end for believing in us. Viva Portugal!
CR7 also took top spot on Forbes' list of highest paid athletes in the world, with his $32 million in endorsements added to his $56 million in salary and winnings. $88 million. Not bad for a year's work. In November 2016, he signed a new 5-year deal with Real, earning him a reported $50 million a season before taxes. No wonder he seemed speechless by it all.
This day is too special and too beautiful for me. I'm looking in my mum's eyes and I see such a great brightness.
She sees dollar signs, Cristiano. But she's proud of her son, and so she should be. When you consider he reportedly signed a lifetime $21 million a year sponsorship deal with Nike in 2016. A year after he put pen to paper on a 6-year multi-million-dollar image rights deal with billionaire Peter Lim. For his part, Lionel Messi earns a similar salary to Ronaldo, but despite being one of the world's most recognizable people, he still earns a little less in endorsement deals. Not nearly as flashy as his Real Madrid counterpart, companies have decided to tap into his man of few words persona, like Turkish Airlines, who first teamed him up with former basketball great Kobe Bryant in their commercial campaign of 2012.
I had fun shooting the TV commercial. In truth, I did my part of the filming here, and Kobe Bryant did his part elsewhere. But for me, it is a pleasure to appear alongside him in this commercial, because of what he means as a sportsman.
In 2015, their commercial would win YouTube's Ad of the Decade award. Add that off-the-pitch accolade to the 5 he won on the pitch with Barcelona, and Messi deserves to be amongst the highest-paid footballers in the world. Third place on the 2016 football list goes to Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who picked up $30 million in salary and bonus money, plus another $7 million in sponsorship deals. Number 4 goes to another Barcelona player, Neymar, who earned $14 million in salary and bonuses. But it's his online gaming investments that have really turned him into an internet sensation. And companies have been quick to cash in. With $22 million in endorsements, Forbes list him as the only footballer to make more money off the field than on it. Finally, at number 5 is Real Madrid's Gareth Bale. The Welshman earns as much in 5 days as former US President Barack Obama earned in a year. Bale signed a new contract with Madrid in 2016 with a buyout clause of €1 billion. You'd think an event called the World Cup would allot the highest amount of prize money in football. Think again. That distinction goes to the UEFA Champions League. In fact, the total prize pool for the 2015-16 season was around €1.257 billion, which was broken down into a fixed amount, awarded according to how the teams finished and performance-related bonuses, and a market pool, which is part of UEFA's TV income. and distributed according to which league the team comes from and number of matches played by a team. However, those numbers dwarf another global sporting competition, arguably the biggest of them all, the Summer Olympics. If you push the cashed-up NBA players aside, the Grand Slam winning tennis stars and famous faces of football, the highest-earning Olympian at Rio in 2016 was Usain Bolt. But it had more to do with his face than his place on the podium. Because the jolly Jamaican won $2.5 million in prize money and appearance fees, but pocketed $30 million in endorsements. Michael Phelps also made himself some serious coin outside the pool, thanks to his $5 million deal with Under Armour. So it seems medals alone don't make you rich. At Rio in 2016, US gold medalists took home $25,000. A silver came with a $15,000 check, while finishing third was good for 10 grand. Hence, Olympians' best chance for some financial recognition for their incredible and underappreciated hard work comes from the Olympic committees of their own nation. In Malaysia, a gold medalist is granted a gold bar worth $600,000, a gesture that's yet to be made. Singapore was comfortable to put up 1 million Singapore dollars for those able to win gold, considering they'd yet to have an athlete do so. That's until Joseph Schooling beat his idol Michael Phelps in the 100-meter butterfly. Just like that, he became a gold medalist and a millionaire. Well, sort of.
Okay, you get $1 million to win a gold medal. That's cool. But you already spent over $1 million trying to get there. So, like, it all evens out. Like, people are like, oh, you know, oh, you got $1 million, stuff like that. Well, yeah, that's going back to my parents. You know, they spent more than that trying to get me to where I am today.
Still to come, when peril and purse don't match. Boxing isn't a sport for the genteel. It's also rarely a sport for those looking to earn a lot of money. In fact, the US Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that pro boxers fight roughly 12 times annually, making roughly $2,000 per 10 rounds boxed. So if pummeling people is your thing, you stand the chance of earning 24 grand a year. Of course, there are those rare cases like Floyd Mayweather Jr., who made roughly $700 million in career earnings, and have seemingly held on to it minus the odd toy. And then there are those other cases, like Mike Tyson.
Being me is pretty profitable.
Who was worth $300 million at one point, only to have lost it all on the odd toy. The bottom line, boxing is dangerous and not entirely lucrative. If danger's your thing, and money too, how about giving Formula One a go? Four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel was the highest-paid Formula One driver in 2016, thanks to his record 3-year deal with Ferrari worth $150 million, excluding bonuses. Sure, a Formula One car can go 0 to 100 in less than 2 seconds, pull more Gs than a space shuttle launch, and reach top speeds of more than 320 kilometers an hour in qualifying. But danger aside, it's a moneymaker. However, if you're looking to make cash while sitting on your couch, why not give eSports a go? Because business is booming for the professional video game industry, generating a following of up to 200 million people globally through online streaming and capacity crowd tournaments in stadiums normally reserved for more mainstream sports. And with those numbers comes the money. Dota 2, the International 5, had a total prize pool of $18.4 million. By comparison, the prize money for winning the ICC Cricket World Cup was $10 million, while UEFA's Europa League offered $9 million US. The NFL Super Bowl, $8.5 million. Yeah, this guy makes a lot of money. And this guy too. This girl, she's not doing that bad for herself either. But despite sport being linked to lucrative contracts, these examples are the exception, not the norm. And in an industry where one bad turn, slide tackle, or tantrum can kill a career and everything you've worked for, why not negotiate for a killer contract, play the sport you love, and laugh all the way to the bank? And that is the truth.